guys. Are your parents leaving you anything behind? It's probably more appropriate to ask, are your grandparents leaving you anything? The reason why I'm not asking about your grandparents is because if your parents aren't leaving you anything behind, you're done. You might be done. If your grandparents are going to leave you something behind, you probably have a good shot. But if your parents aren't leaving you anything behind, meaning your grandparents, the boomer age, that that age group, early boomers, late boomers, if your grandparents are leaving you something behind, then you're probably in decent shape. If your parents are not leaving you behind, leaving you anything, I'm talking about inheritance. I'm talking about inheritance. I'm talking about transferring wealth. If you're not being left anything in this country, in this age, in this period, you're going to be thrust into a permanent underclass. You might be done for. It might be over with. Here's how you'll know. With the passage of this big, beautiful bill that Trump just passed, every single person is affected. He may not think it affects you because you live in a certain area or you're from a certain community or whatnot. Every single person, if you're a taxpayer, you are affected. This big, beautiful bill, for all the things that it does, here's the one thing. You see, I just got back from this. By the way, my name is Tekk Amaku. If you've never heard of me, I co-creator of the Sabrina AI software for notaries, help them automate notary businesses. But I just got back from this wealth forum, and did you know this, that 78% of people out there are living check to check? Did you know that? That means if you bump into 4 people today, 3 of them are living check to check, and 50% of people have nothing saved. I'm not from LA. You see palm trees in the background, but I'm not from LA. I just got back from a wealth forum this past Saturday, and it said that 78% of people have nothing saved. That means 3 out of 4 people that you meet 4 people, 3 people, nothing saved. They've never learned about how to save money. I'm not talking about savings accounts, checking accounts. I'm talking about how to make money grow. I'm talking about life insurance, talking about annuities, talking about tax deferred accounts, things that allow money to grow so that you can access it later on. But here's the thing, 50% of people have 0 saved. Those statistics, this dog always barks. Those statistics are mind-blowing to me. But check this out. With the passage of this big, beautiful bill, here's what effectively happened. The estate tax plan, the estate tax, which is commonly known as the death tax, this basically says that when your grandparents pass away, or your parents pass away, or anyone who transitions on, they are allowed to gift you money that doesn't get exposed to the taxes. So here's what happens. So with this big beautiful bill, here's what happened. This is what I'm saying. If nobody's passing you, if your parents, especially your parents, but if your grandparents are not passing down anything, and your parents are not passing down anything, I'm not saying that you're done, you're cooked, you're but you're pretty. No, I'm just come out and say it. You're done. You are going to be thrust into this permanent underclass, this permanent working class. In other words, you'll be working for the rest of your life because you where else and when else where will there ever be this massive transfer, this injection, this large injection of cash into your life? At what other point would that happen? Your grandparents are gone, your parents are gone, possibly your siblings, but if your siblings more than likely are just, they're like in the same boat as you are. They're probably in the same situation that you are in. So here's what I'm saying. And by the way, I'm going to give you some solutions. I would never bring you this doom and gloom scenario and not even offer you any type of solutions. I can't. I hate when people do that. I hate when people put up videos and they talk about the scenario. They talk about the problem, they discuss it ad nauseum. They talk about all the issues and then they leave and then they don't give a solution. So I'm going to give you some solutions. I'm going to tell you what to do. Not tomorrow, not next week. I'm going to tell you what to do right now. And then let me tell you guys a little story real quick. Just in case you think I'm playing around. I'm gonna give you a personal look into my real life so that you guys know I'm not messing around. I'm not fucking around when I tell you guys this. I'm gonna tell you something that really happened to me in my life, and hopefully you guys can connect with me and you guys can relate to this story I'm getting ready to share with you. I actually have two stories. Actually, I have like three stories, but I'm gonna share one with you just so I don't get too long-winded. But I could talk about this all day. So it's 2025 currently. About 4 years ago, in the heart of the pandemic, as you guys know, I do work in financial services. I have a financial services company. So my brother and I, we're only a year apart. We wanted to give my mother, my elderly mother, she's not elderly, but she's getting up there in age. She's in her 60s. We wanted to get her covered. She had no type of protection. She had no type of life insurance. And this is what I mean. If your parents aren't going to transfer anything to you, you're done. So let me share with you, and this is part of the solution I'm going to tell you. So I coordinated her to get covered for $150,000 of life insurance coverage, and that's just the baseline, right? It was going to go up from there. So let's say she lived for another 20 years, and the policy, actually the value of the policy grew to be, let's say, $200,000. All right, so it grew $50,000, right? My brother and I each, upon her transition, we would be awarded, or we would receive the benefits of her policy. So we would each walk away with a minimum of $100,000 each. Keep in mind, she has nothing in place right now. Nothing. That means when she dies, we have to come out of the pocket, pay for her to be put in the ground or to be cremated or whatever it is. But that expense falls onto us. So I got her approved for $150,000 of protection. That protection wasn't for her. It was for her in the event that she got sick. She would be able to access this money and pay for some care, some long-term care, in the facility. She would be able to save some money. Instead of putting it in a checking account, she can put it into this policy and it can grow and she can access it later on when she retires. So it was for her. Those are the living benefits, but the death benefit was for us. The death benefit was for me and my brother. So with $150,000 coverage, you guys follow me? With $150,000 coverage, my brother would get 75 and I would get 75. Minimum, bro. Yeah, it's sweating. It's hot out here, man. I'm sweating. This is that lifestyle in California. So when upon her death, we would each get the 75K. She refused it. She wasn't going to pay for it. My brother and I would pay for it. It's like $400 a month. I would we would split it $200 each. He paid 200. I paid 200. So that upon her transition, we would each be awarded, or at least we would receive. Awarded is not the right word. We would each receive 75K. So that would be the massive transfer of wealth from my parents. My grandparents, upon their transition, whole different story. Now check this out. So how do you know where you currently are right now? Let me explain something to you. This big beautiful bill, what it allowed to happen is the estate tax rate, it shot up. Now, here's what this means in plain English. Before the passage of the bill, when you died, there was something called an estate tax. So that means any money that you gift over a certain amount, let's say it was $5 million. Any money that you transition, when you die, you pass it on, it was taxed. It was so up to 5 million, no problem, zero taxes. Over 5 million, let's say it was taxed at 10%, right? Just rough numbers. That threshold has gone up to $15 million. So that means if you have a house, you got a boat, you got a car, you got a cabin, you got some horses, you got some jet skis, you got a yacht, you got some motorcycles, you can, and then you got some retirement accounts. It's nice out here, man. Birds chirping and stuff. So this is the life. This is the life. Middle of the day, going out for a walk, me and my son, talking to you guys. Quiet, peaceful. This kind of life you want, man. But if you don't pay attention, you don't start acting now, you're cooked. You're done for in this country. You're done. It's a wrap. It's over. That threshold, that estate tax threshold, has been increased to $15 million. So that means your grandparents and your parents can pass on up to $15 million to their heirs, to you, your brothers, your family, tax free. That means they pay nothing. You can pass on as much as up to $15 million, no problem. Oh my God. That's why I started off by asking, if your parents aren't transferring anything to you, grandparents, your parents, they don't own anything. They don't have an individually owned life insurance policy. They don't have an owned property. They don't even have to be free and clear. I'm gonna tell you a story about a guy who called me. Because again, I own a notary business, right? I own a notary business. I'm gonna tell you about what a guy, he called me this morning, and I had to talk with him, and I explained to him, you need to get these documents signed today. And now I'm gonna finish up by telling you guys what to do. All right, I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. I'm gonna give you guys a solution. This massive transfer of wealth that's going on right now, like, it's already in full swing. If you don't stand to benefit from this massive transfer of wealth in this country, you're going to be thrust into a permanent underclass. The gap of wealth between those who understand these instruments, people who understand that in order to transfer your ownership of assets, it needs to be documented. Just to say that, oh, my son can have the salt shaker, my daughter, she can have the couch. my nephew, he can have the car. You can't just say that. You can't just, your words mean nothing according to the courts. Nothing. The judge is going to look at you and say, while your family's going through probate. It's funny because I was actually going to go and sit inside of a probate court this morning just to hear, just to get some knowledge, just to get some information. Hear people fight over nothing. They hear people argue and bicker over things that could be solved if you just documented it. With the power of attorney, with the will, with the irrevocable trust or revocable trust. Where is it documented? The judge is going to say, where is it written? And the Bible says it was written. Where is it written that your grandmother said that you can have the couch and the china cabinet and the dishes and the salt shaker and the pepper shaker? Where is it written down? If it's not written down that you can have these accounts, guess what? It's going back to the courts. The judge is going to take your house. The lawyers are going to take your accounts. The creditors are going to get your bank accounts. Okay, Tekk, you got my blood pressure up. You didn't tell me what the problem is. Now, what are we going to do about it? Here's what you're going to do. Listen, you got to have faith in your boy. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Here's what you do. If your parents are not planning to leave, first of all, ask them. Because you don't know what your parents have. They may not have ever told you. They may have a bunch of accounts sitting somewhere out there. You never know. You never know. Their social security number might be attached to all types of different accounts. They could be sitting on $100 million right now. How would you know? They never told you. First thing you need to do is an audit. Find out what your parents have. If you still have your grandparents, they're still alive, ask them. You need to ask them now. A 93-year-old woman, her grandson called me this morning trying to get up an appointment so that they can get this stuff documented. 93. A 93-year-old could die tomorrow. I don't care what shape, what standard and quality of health you're in right now. As a 93-year-old, you could die tomorrow. So find out what your parents have, what your grandparents have. Find out what it is they have. Here's the second thing you do. If they don't have anything, if they're not going to transfer nothing to you upon their death, upon their transition, they don't have anything planned to inherit, for you to inherit. If your parents aren't going to give you anything, chances are your grandparents definitely don't have anything, or they definitely did not give you anything. There's still some time for you to do what I'm getting ready to share with you. Go ahead. Now, I was unable to get coverage from my mother, or I actually did, but it wasn't $150,000. It was less than that. It was a lot less than that. But you need to accomplish. You need to achieve what I was unable to achieve. Go get your parents in this order. Get yourself covered first. You need to protect yourself first. Protect you. You're the first one. You get protected first. Get life insurance on yourself first. Me, I prefer index universal life policies. It's the ultimate tool, the ultimate wealth weapon. It's the ultimate tool. In the index universal life insurance policy. Get covered on yourself. Get protected. Protect yourself. The next thing I would do is protect my parents. Get whatever you can get. No amount is too small. Get some protection so that when they pass away, that they can transfer it to you. You can inherit this massive one-time transfer of wealth. And if you're successful in that, and you can get your parents covered, and you can get yourself covered, then try to get your living grandparents covered if you have them. if they're still around, get them covered too. Hey, how you? Good, good. Thanks again for the fruit, man. You see, I just walk around my neighborhood, say hi to my neighbors. Everybody knows me. They see me out here. I'm just trying to get this information out to you guys so you guys can live a quality life. Guys, it's not the trick to become secure and financially stable is not it's not anything like it's not a secret. You just got to do the right things, and you can do it really quickly. I gotta put some water on that plant. Oh my god, you guys, you can you can in one generation you can solve the poverty in your family with in one generation. You really could if you do the steps that I just outlined for you. Get yourself protected first. You matter the most, and then get your parents protected, then get your grandparents protected if they're still around, and then get a trust so that you can transfer. There's no such thing as generational wealth without a trust. I made a video about this earlier already. I'll put a link somewhere here in the description below. It's impossible to have generational wealth without a trust because there's no instrument that facilitates the transference of this wealth. But that's what a trust does. And if you are not standing to inherit something, other than debt, if you're not in line to inherit something, you're cooked. The big beautiful bill just was like the nail in the coffin. I know they're not saying that, but it's always what they're not saying. It's always what they're leaving out. That's what's really going to hit you. The stakes. If you just now watching this live, then go back and rewind this, obviously. But that's what it is. That's basically it. That's how it gets summed up. You're not standing to inherit something from your grandparents or from your parents, then you're cooked in this because you're going to be thrust into a permanent underclass. You're going to be working for the rest of your life. Now, it's not impossible to dig yourself out of that hole, but it just, the gap between those who have and those who have not has just been, it's too far. I'm not going to say it's been increased. It's beyond reach now. It's already gone. So you need to own something so that you can transfer it on to the generations after you. And when you own things today, that means you control it. And that's where the real power comes from. You have to own things. It's no more important to just temporarily rent things. You have to own stuff. Absolutely. So listen, man, if you guys made it this far, then I'm glad that you guys stuck around and listened to me. You don't have to listen to a word I say. I'm gonna do what's best for my family. I mean, I'm just not gonna not share this information though. You can't say that I never told you. That's see, I sleep okay at night because I understand that I've given out this information for years to as many people that would listen. I'm one of those people who will listen. You only have to tell me once. You only have to tell me things once, and I got it. I would do a little bit of research and then I would take action. So fortunately, I'm a part of a business that if you're looking to start a business, then again, we talk about ownership, right? Ownership of stocks, ownership of real estate, ownership of businesses. That's where real wealth is built. Otherwise, you'll be working for the rest of your life. But there's links below. Click those links, man. If you just want to bounce some ideas off your head, you got some thoughts that's going through your mind, don't know who to talk to, bro, set up a call with me. I'll speak to you for 15 minutes, see what you got in mind, see what kind of plans you have, and I'll give you some advice. I am licensed by the state of California Department of Insurance to talk about these subjects. I'm not one of these people that says, "Oh, this is just for educational purposes, and this is just for, this is just for entertainment and all that stuff." No, no, no. I'm not one of those people. I am licensed to talk about these subjects. I am financially or as a fiduciary, I am responsible to talk about these subjects. I'm not just somebody making this stuff for entertainment purposes. All right. So I'm part of a business that our whole goal is to not leave any families behind, especially if you are in the middle class. See, if you were born into the 1%, like 99% of us, if you wasn't born into the 1%, you don't have access to this information. No one ever told you this. Please, why? You're not worth anything. Why would anybody tell you? Why would Charles Schwab or J.P. Morgan? Why would they tell you this? You only have $2 in the bank. You don't. You're not worth it. But we want to bring a level of security to middle class families all over the country, and that's exactly what I did 6 years ago when I started this business. And thankfully, I did it at the time. But now, is now right now with the passage of this big beautiful bill. See, I'm not worried because I understand that taxes is a part of any family's financial future. You have to understand taxes. Life insurance is the foundation of any family's financial future. You don't have any of these things, yeah, man, you're it's over for you. It's not going to be done. It's already over for you unless you take those steps that I advise. Those 3 steps: get yourself protected, get your family, your parents, and your grandparents protected in that order as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. All right, you guys, that was a long talk. So if you stayed this long, then I don't care if you subscribe or not, man. I don't care. But give the video a thumbs up. Share the video with somebody who needs to hear this information, man. Talk to you guys later. Hope to hear from you soon.